Coming up today, we're planting our peppers. We had a fail, so we had to revert to plan B. Find out all that. And we're going to plant our sweet potatoes for the third time, for the third year, in the third different location to try to get some very large tubers. All that and more coming up today on the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener. The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener is sponsored in part by, for all your non-GMO, heirloom, organic, vegetable, flowers, and herb seeds, visit dollarseed.com. Sioux Growing Supply, located in Wausau, Wisconsin, focusing on certified leaf compost, an excellent amendment for poor soil, retains moisture and adds nutrients, which equals less watering. Available in Sioux organic seed starting kits, pre-filled trays and pots, bag and bulk. Visit siouxcompost.com. Organic fertilizer for the health-conscious organic home gardener. Family owned and operated. Visit wgardens.com. Don't poison your soil with municipal water. Attach a body, mind, and soil hose and filter. Free shipping exclusively through the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com. Just click on the body, mind, and soil icon. Authentic Haven brand soil conditioner for the home gardener. Easy to brew, 100% organic. Visit MinerT.com. Welcome to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener. I'm Joey Baird. We're going to plant our peppers today in the high end of the large garden. Peppers enjoy a lot of heat, so that's why we've chosen this particular location. It gets almost full sun all day long, and then in the summer, peak summer days, this is the hottest part of the whole garden. Now we're just going to utilize what we call bed one here, that half of the bed, because this half is going to be dedicated to the Yacon. We had an epic fail. We had a number of very nice pepper plants in our grow room, and they became infested with aphids, the little white bugs you see crawling on plants that you may have experienced too. We tried to do our best to control them and eradicate them, but they took over and devastated our peppers. So we had to do something that we have not done for about 3 years, and that was go to our local independent garden center and purchase plant starts for our garden. Now this may be something you do every year, and that's quite all right because you're growing your own vegetables. This is a goal that we set forth each year here between Holly and myself to try to avoid buying starts and being more independent with our own knowledge of starting seeds starting seeds and bringing those starts to the garden. But we had to go and buy plants and peppers because of the aphids infestation. So we're going to do the best that we can and try to avoid that situation next year. So we did purchase some peppers here, just some regular green peppers, and the peppers will change colors based on how long you leave them on the vine. Peppers do like a lot of heat, like I spoke about, and they like good, wet, fertile soil, which most plants do. We've got a very densely packed shredded leaves on top here that we've had from last fall. So the soil is still moist, got a lot of good nutrients in it. Now peppers here, we're going to plant, this bed is 24 inches wide. We're going to put 2 peppers wide here, make 2 rows of them. We do have our strawberry patch that is working its way into this bed because of the runners, and I'm okay with that. So what we're going to do here is start up here, mark where we're going to have our peppers. Peppers you do not want to plant really any deeper than where they came in the container. They're not like tomatoes. They're not going to put on more roots. For the most part, they won't put on more roots along the stalk. Okay. Now, if you buy peppers at your local garden center, or you have them started already in your grow room, if you see little buds beginning to form, the flowers, go ahead and pinch them off, because they're not going, it's just going to stress the plant out more by putting them in the ground. It's already now kind of in a mild shock because it's been transplanted, and it's also trying to put on fruit, so it's going to delay the whole process, and most times them flowers are going to fall off anyway. So we're just getting rid of those so it can focus on the establishment of the new location, and then it will begin to put flowers on. I'm going to add some 755 all-purpose select organic fertilizer to the hole just to give it a little boost. There we go. You can see it's getting root bound because it's just in an old plastic container here. So we want to fluff the roots up. And we are going to, this lower leaf here, we are going to pop that off and then plant it right below the first set of leaves, knowing that there may be slight root development in this area, but not expecting it, but more of a support mechanism by burying it a little deeper here. Backfill. Put the leaves back around it. Now, based on your experience and type of pepper you're growing, you may want to stake them or put cages around them. We have never felt the necessity to do such, but if that's something you choose to do, a little extra support is not going to hurt the peppers at all. So I'm going to go ahead and finish planting the rest of these, and then we'll get them all mulched in. All right, so I got all of them planted 2, 4, 6 here, high into the garden. It's the hottest part of the garden. I'm just backfilling around with mulch, making sure I get all the exposed leaves up and not being smothered so I can get as much sunlight as they need to grow. And we will have peppers till frost. Now, we didn't mark these. We obviously knew what we bought. We didn't mark them, but you can still, if they're an heirloom or organic seed, you can save the seeds on those. Hybrids you can as well, you just won't get the exact same traits as the parent plant. So peppers in a hot location, whether you're in a container or in the ground, and keep a lot of water to them, and you should have a very successful growing season. Growing in containers is a great way to expand your growing area, whether you have ground to grow in or not. We're going to plant some fennel. Now, fennel is, some people will label it as an herb. It is a bulb that forms on the top of the ground that has a very tall fronds on it, or top on it, and it has the resemblant taste of licorice. So if you don't like licorice, this may not be a plant to grow. Even the seeds have a smell of a licorice type of fragrance. So what we're going to do is we're going to plant it in a small container, because not everybody has a very large container to plant in. Recommendations for planting fennel is 1 seed per every 12 inches. Well, we don't have 12 inches. We've got about a 9-inch pot here. Many of us who garden don't always have and don't want to go out and purchase a container specifically for a particular crop. So what we're going to do here, and we filled this with certified leaf compost, we're going to plant 4 seeds in this container, and then we're only going to wean off 2 or cut off 2 of the weaker ones and try to grow 2 bulbs in this. Now, these bulbs will get, if you've not been familiar with fennel, these bulbs will get to about the size of a baseball, and they can get about 18 to 24 inches tall. So what we're going to do here, I'm just going to grid this off in 4 here, and these will take about 12 to 18 days to germinate. Now, this container here has a reservoir or a catch pan that is permanently attached to it. So if we overwater it, it will reside in the catch pan, or it will flush out if we have too much in there. Now, these seeds, this is what, fennel seeds is what is put in sausages and some sausage making recipes. So that's, and on some pizzas topping. So that's it helps you with the fragrance at all. So I'm going to put 2 seeds per hole here, just so we make sure we have a good germination, and then we'll wean off. We'll take out 2 plants here, so this container can house 2 plants instead of 4. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to take a little bit of mulch, not directly over where the holes are at, but around it. Now, this is leaves here. You can use dry grass clippings, straw, preferably not hay, because hay is a grass product that has seeds, but anything to ward off moisture evaporation. So I've made sure that the 4 holes there I've got, and then we'll just let it sit. We don't need to water it. So growing fennel, it can be difficult if you have a small container, but we're going to test that theory and see if we can get something to grow in this container. Growing containers is a great way to expand your growing space, whether you have ground to grow in or not. This is the Yacon plant that we've got courtesy of Nichols Garden Nursery up in Oregon. They've got a lot of great plants, and for most of us, it's about the right time or a little later to plant these to get a harvest on them in the fall. Now, a Yacon is a sunroot. It is related to the Jerusalem artichoke, but it can handle the cold just a tiny bit more. The harvest item on this is the tuber. You can get quite a lot of tubers off of it. When you harvest them, they kind of have the resemblance of a sweet potato. So we're going to plant these. You can plant these at the same depth that they are in the container, or you can actually plant them a little deeper, 2 to 4 inches deeper than what that is in the container. And what will happen here is these roots here will all start to develop and start putting tubers on. And there's a worm right there. Okay, so you want a good fertile soil, full sun. These things are going to get 5 to 6 foot tall, and you want to space them 2 foot apart. I talked about the tubers that you're going to harvest. You can also, there's going to be a rhizome on the root, and we'll talk about this when we harvest them, that you can save and you can replant these. They will die once it gets, the top portion will die once it freezes. You can harvest these rhizomes and keep them inside and bring them back, because this is a tropical plant that can handle a little bit of the cold. So I'm just going to very, very gently loosen the roots up here. And we're just going to plant this right in the ground. A little deeper, that's about right. All right, backfill. I'm going to bring some leaves that I've got here just to help hold some of the moisture in. All right, that one's good. Now this leaf here is yellowing, so I'm just going to pop it off. It's not going to hurt the plant at all. Pull this one out. Loosen it up a little bit. Let's see some of these roots here. A lot of these are going to produce those tubers. And all right. And that's as easy as it is to plant the Yacon sunroot. Now we're just going to wait for it to grow, and we'll harvest these in the fall. About the same time we'll harvest some of the Jerusalem artichokes, and then we'll talk about how we can properly store these to get a little more life out of them so we can eat them during the winter months. So the Yacon, or the sunroot, it's something that maybe you have tried, or maybe you will consider trying next year when it comes to growing a unique item in your vegetable garden. So we're going to plant our sweet potatoes here along the house in this little pop-up, well, not pop-up, this makeshift raised berm that we had that we created last year. Now the reason why we chose this particular spot, now we've done this will be the 3rd year we're growing sweet potatoes. First year we just put them in the ground in the garden. Didn't do much at all, had very small piddly results. Last year we put them in a bucket with no bottom on it, and with good compost in it. Did relatively decent, but it wasn't in a very hot location. Sweet potatoes, unlike regular potatoes or the potatoes that you're used to, need a lot of heat. They're a tropical plant. So we're going to put them up along the side of the house where a lot of heat radiates off the siding here. We're on the high end of the garden where the afternoon sun will be over my shoulder here. That's the most intense sun you're going to get during the day. So we're going to put them here next to the shallots. The shallots are not going to be an issue here by the time these get to the point where they're going to be sprawling out. Now, we harvest these slips. You can buy these slips at your local garden center. We harvest these off the sweet potato that we harvested last year from our raised, or our bucket container. Then we put these in some mupu tea, and they're beginning to put roots on. They've got enough roots now that I feel confident that if I plant them, they're going to take off. We're going to water them in real good. This is the best slip that we have of the 4, I believe it is. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take the center here, dig a hole, make sure we got clumps out of it, and I'm going to bury it down to that first, well, here what I'll do is pop those off. I'm going to bury it all the way down there. I've got roots starting to form. Yeah, I can see little hairs and roots starting to form on the bottom portion here. So I'm just going to bury it that deep. Now you're going to have some discoloring of the leaves. It's going through the shock process. There's some leaves discoloring there. I've got some roots right there. I've hit an anthill as well. I've got some roots there. So I'm going to plant this one. I'm going to leave the yellow leaves on and just plant it below the yellow leaves. Now, typically, if all goes well in a sweet potato scenario, that would be the only plant that I'm going to need to get good sweet potatoes. We've not had the success that we felt we should have had, so that's why I'm putting all of these in this area with the chance that we're going to have at least one be successful at producing tubers. Now, this here is the mother plant. This is the hub. This is right here where I planted. That's where the sweet potatoes are going to form. This is going to vine all over the place to absorb enough sunlight to photosynthesize to do the growing of the roots. So that's the reason why that you're going to see only potatoes typically in that area there. The ants are really, got an anthill here somewhere that they're really enjoying climbing all over me. Now I'm going to put this one here. Get rid of some of these weeds. And this last one here, I don't think it's going to grow, but I'm going to plant it anyway just because I got it here. So we pre-soaked these for about a day and a half in moo-poo tea, and the roots really shot out of the stalk. So we're very happy to see the results there. Yeah, you can just soak it in regular water, but the moo-poo tea gives that boost that it needs. So sweet potatoes, they need a long growing season. Preferably as long as you can give them, the better they are. But again, they're only going to really produce that tuber right at the root zone there. It's going to sprawl over with the leaves, but that root zone, that's where you're going to see the potatoes kind of pop up out of the ground. Thanks for watching. Join us again next time for more organic gardening and food preserving. I'm Joey Barrett, and this has been the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener.
For more information, please visit thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com.